Hey friends, Pastor Michael from Organic Church, here with Sydney Erickson, Don Reed, Beth Jarvis, Nick Offolter, and Pastor Roger Deerdorf. All right, Sid, you've got a story. Let's hear it.
Oh, I can't start out with that.
Why?
Okay, well, I've talked about...
Oh, jeez.
I've talked about the podcast. I think I mentioned it the last time, too, the Small Town Murder podcast.
Oh, yeah.
But I was saying how I only listen to the ones that kind of not resemble me, but if it's like Ohio or...
Oh, yeah.
Actually, I think just the Ohio ones. And I was saying like the geographics and, I don't know, like the median household and this and that. And so there was one about Beach City, Ohio.
Okay.
And it was in 2017. Does anyone remember?
Was it the Stockdales?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you know them?
So
let me keep going.
okay. Remind me to tell you about the Stockdales.
I think we're getting there.
Yeah.
And they're talking about, because they'll talk about, they said Beach City, I think, is technically maybe like a village or a township.
Yes. Township.
Yeah.
Strasburg is technically, is that right?
Village.
Like that's the
Yeah.
closest thing to them?
Yeah, so they were kind of saying like the city nearby, I think maybe Bolivar, they were saying how much a house sold for there, because they'll do that, like your market for the housing market every episode. And then they were talking about what to do around this area. And they were saying like this one
I
event.
don't even want to know.
This one event that they do, and it's Leonard.
Oh, geez, the Amish Country Theater.
The Amish Country Theater.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait a minute, Leonard, comedian. I'm like, I know where they're going. Well, then they keep talking, and 10 minutes later, they're talking about this event and this and that. They're talking about your land cruise. Your work land cruise.
No kidding.
Yes. I'm like, oh my goodness.
No kidding.
Yeah, because then they were saying that they would have Amish food, and sometimes they make themselves sound stupid because they're like, I mean, what's Amish food? Like, is it like corn and mashed potatoes? Like that? I'm going, yeah, actually.
Yeah, actually,
really
you're
good corn and mashed potatoes.
add noodles and you're right on target.
Yeah.
A little bit of chicken.
Yeah. And I think I'm only like an hour into the podcast, and I think it's like a 2-hour podcast. But so far, I've learned that they used to perform at the Amish Country Theater.
So let me tell you the story.
Go ahead.
So I wasn't working there yet, but I mean, work with the owners regularly.
Yeah.
And so it's show night. Show starts at 7:00. It's 6:15 and they haven't shown up yet. 6:30, they can't get a hold of anybody. They're like, what are we going to do? We don't have a house band. They were literally the house band. They were the bluegrass house band. Like, what are we going to do? Well, we don't really have a choice. We're going to go on without them. We're just not going to have music. We don't have a choice. So they continue the show, and about intermission, I mean, they were calling all of them.
I should probably tell everyone in case they're confused. The family that was being broadcasted or kind of special guest in this, I mean, they don't bring them in, but they were talking about this family. This family has a family band, and they were performing.
Yes, the family band was... They were the house band for our theater. So intermission comes around. I mean, they've called all of the family. There's a lot of them. All the kids played an instrument and sang. Mom and dad played instrument and sang. When it was a ton of like talent in the family. And intermission comes, and one of the owners gets a phone call that the son had killed the entire family.
No.
That afternoon.
Wait, is it the son that went to college?
Well, he went to prison is where he went.
Well,
that's where he's at now.
Well, beforehand.
I'm not positive.
Because they had 2 kids named the
Did I
same
ruin
name.
the podcast for you?
I think you did.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Yeah.
So they're not showing up because they're dead.
They were dead. That's how.
The whole family.
The whole family. The whole family. And I don't know the backstory as to what happened, why it happened. Like, I don't know any of the motive or any of that stuff. But I mean, people that our theater crew was associated with very closely, like they were part of the family, the theater family. You know what I mean? Like
they played their regular.
I mean, it was 3 times a week. It was wild. Yeah.
Were they Amish?
No, I think at some point in their heritage they would have been, but they were not.
And they
didn't
said
have anything to do with the
wife swap.
Amish. No.
What?
No, they were on wife swap.
Really?
They were. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
You're right. Yes.
The Amish mafia.
No.
Oh.
No.
Remember there were some killings there?
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Okay.
No. Yeah, it's a really wild ride.
Yeah.
It's a wild ride. Yeah. Yeah, it probably shouldn't have started with that. Jeez.
No, I'm sorry, but that kind of leads into. Did we even talk
I don't
about
even remember
today's
what
topic? I don't think
what
we
is it?
said what it is.
Oh, okay. what do you think is the greatest need people have today?
Jesus. After that, Jesus.
Bodyguards.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no kidding.
Yeah.
No kidding. I will personally attest to the fact that I think people need more today than ever before grace
Mhm.
Oh, yes.
Mhm.
from each
Yeah.
other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I
More
agree.
than anywhere. Not just
Mm-hmm.
the grace of God, but geez, the grace from each other.
Yes.
Amen.
It's not funny, right? Oh Lord. Okay.
Help me.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, this week I have felt like I was drowning all week, just all week. I don't feel like I can get my head above water, but I think we're good now. I think we're good. I think I
hope.
I feel like I'm treading water now, but
Yeah, we're just
Just barely.
we're not
treading.
swimming. We're treading.
yeah, I'm just staying afloat right now. Just staying afloat. That's all I need.
It's like walking on thin ice.
Listen, okay, Margie, you're here. Margie's here. Welcome, Margie. Beth is out because her dad had surgery today. Her dad is in recovery.
Yes,
Her dad is
doing
doing
well.
okay. Yes. So Margie is sitting in her seat. Margie, I have a terrible thing to tell you. It's not actually terrible. So all of you who have ever met my poochies, I've got Milo. He's a mini golden doodle, about 30-ish pounds. And then we have Lucy. She is a teacup Maltese weighing about 3 pounds. And Lucy is what the vet would call geriatric. So Lucy's 13. She doesn't have any teeth left. She's almost blind, almost deaf. Lucy just in rough shape. But Lucy still acts like she's a puppy. She does all the normal things a puppy would. Like, she's all over the place. Probably one of the most energetic dogs I've ever seen. About 2 months ago, we took her to the groomer. The groomer stopped us afterwards and said, "Hey, listen, you need to take her to the vet. I think you got a problem." And I was like, "What?" She's like, "Well, she's got a really thick toenail." And I'm like, "Why is that a problem?" And it turns out that could be a sign of cancer.
Oh.
Oh,
Who would have thought, right?
never heard that.
So I immediately panicked because this is like, my wife bought her like right before we got married. We were engaged. She bought the dog. The dog has lived with me our entire marriage. So she's my dog. She sleeps with me. She lays with me. Like she likes me over everybody else. Courtney will argue that that's not true, but it is true. So we took her to the vet. The vet's like, "It could be cancer. It could just be a thick toenail. Let's just wait and see what happens. Let's not do anything yet." About 3 weeks later, she's hopping on, won't put that foot down. She's licking it real bad. So I called the vet. They're like, "All right, bring her back in. Let's take a look at it." I'm like, "Yeah, it is swollen. We should probably take her toe off." Poor Lucy has to have her toe removed tomorrow.
Oh,
Yeah.
My dog had to have
Because
hers.
it's cancer?
Well, they said they won't know until they've taken it off and done a biopsy. But at this point,
Even when with my Shih Tzu, when I had her, she had this huge tumor on her paw, and in order for them to take it off, like they had to remove one of her toes.
Yep.
But they did the biopsy and it came back benign. So they're like, "Well, it could be cancer or it could not be cancer." I'm like, okay.
well, so they want to, we didn't get her fixed when we got her. We were broke. We shouldn't have even bought a dog if we're being honest with each other. We couldn't afford to take care of her, but we did it. And so we never got her fixed. And so they wanted to fix her while she was under because she's so small. Just whatever you can do to because I guess small dogs are susceptible to reproductive cancers. And so they thought, we'll just do all. I'm like, I can't afford that. So we're just getting a little toe removed right now. They're like, "Well, let's do a chest x-ray. We think she might have a small heart murmur." I'm like, I don't know who you think you're talking to. But first of all, you told me she's geriatric.
Yeah.
Like, you're telling me she might not survive the surgery. I know darn good and well, if I would have let them do that, all of that, they would have done the chest x-ray first. That way they weren't going to miss out on it if something were to happen during surgery. You know what I mean? But yeah, so I'm nervous. I told my wife, I said, "I'm going to go to work tomorrow and I'm not going to worry about it. She's taking her to the vet. We'll get her back in the evening."
Yeah.
And I said, "But if something happens to her, do not call me at work and tell me. You just wait till I get home and tell me then, because I can't handle it this week." I cannot handle it this week. So, as a side note for you, they've closed 39. So I have to take, what is it, Crooked Run?
Crooked Run.
Crooked Run.
Shilling Hill.
Yeah.
Sure.
yes.
Maybe?
Yes, I think you're right. And then I just pop out,
Right.
go down. Okay. So anyhow, the wildlife on that road, not prepared for all that traffic. They did not understand what was coming. I'm talking I have never in my life seen so much roadkill. Ever. It really, like, it's, when I'm sad about it, it's bad. Like, there was a whole family of raccoons in one spot. I was like, oh, all these little babies.
There
It
was
was,
up there by Walmart too. There was the mom and then
Oh.
3 babies.
Oh.
Like, oh Lord.
and like, when you're driving down the road, the deer will be standing in the middle of the road. They don't even care because they're so used to like it being a fairly quiet road. And now all of a sudden it's not quiet anymore. So,
They're suicidal.
well, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think they just got very unlucky.
Hey, I still get my Margie minute even though she's here.
You want to do it now?
Yay.
You want to
Yeah,
do it now?
we're going to do it now.
Don't hit pause like I did.
Yeah, I'm watching it. Trust me. It's time for our Margie Minute. Go ahead.
So you all know the events of Saturday.
The events of Saturday.
With the attempt that was made on.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Was that Saturday?
former-
Yes, it
that
was.
Saturday. Yes. So
Why was I thinking it
attempt
was
made on former President Trump's life.
Okay.
So she announces to me that, Trump's been shot. So immediately get on our phones, and I'm looking, and I go to the video, and I'm trying to watch the video. I'm trying to see what's going on.
Oh, no.
Meanwhile, our cat, we have to feed our one cat separately because
It's
he's
his cat.
diabetic.
It's his cat.
He's
Just so you know,
diabetic,
it's his
so
cat.
he has
It's his
to.
cat.
He has certain feeding times, and he has to. So we have to feed him separate. Otherwise, he'll just keep eating, and which is why he's a diabetic in the first place.
He's a glutton.
So his food's up there, on the end of the couch, right?
And everybody else has to go to the
And
basement.
everybody else has to go to the basement. Well, I don't think I shut the basement door, right?
I don't
that
think
what
you
happened?
you didn't even start feeding yet.
Oh,
you
no.
just brought his bowl down with his leftover lunch in it. is what you
Okay,
did.
so it was leftover.
But I didn't know
That's
that.
even better.
I
It's
didn't know that.
leftover lunch.
He didn't even eat all his lunch.
Well, all of a sudden, all the other cats start jumping up to get that bowl of food. And like I said, here I am. I'm trying to watch this. I'm trying to see what's going on. And she's like, Nick, they're eating his food. They're eating his food. And of course, I'm not listening. 'Cause I'm trying to see what's going on. And she just keeps right at it. Like, they're eating all his food. They're eating all his food. I'm like, there it is. I'm like, President Trump's just been shot, and you're more worried about this cat and the fact that the other cats are getting his food. I'm like, that'll be the Margie minute.
That's the Margie Minute. We've got it.
I was like, are you kidding me?
I'm the one that always worries about the cat,
Yeah.
though. And it's his cat.
Oh, jeez.
100% his cat.
Yeah.
He gets insulin twice a day.
What?
The first
Yes.
times in the morning, I have to get up early to go to work so I could separate the cats, feed the cat, give the cat his insulin, and get everybody else.
Now, wait. Is this the wall cat?
No.
No,
Okay, this is
that's
a different
that's
cat.
Trixie. That's
Not the wall cat, huh?
Yeah.
It sounds like a band.
I know the wall cat.
Wall cat.
It's more, I think male cats are more prone to get it.
Really?
Yeah. And about the age of 8, and that's about
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's
Well,
not
if you
cheap.
want to talk about symptoms, how cats, they always have their feet up. Well, he started to walk on his hocks, like on the front part of his leg or his foot.
Interesting.
And I
And
noticed.
she noticed it.
Of course she did.
He would have died
Yeah.
if I
Which
wasn't.
she
the
didn't know what
picture. I'm
that
just saying,
meant.
He would have been dead.
She didn't know what that meant, but obviously she thought something was
I started
wrong. So when we
Googling.
took it to the vet, they're like, yeah, they do that when
Because they can't
they
feel their
can't.
toes.
It's like their
It's
feet
like
go
they've got
numb.
neuropathy.
Huh.
Yep.
Just-
Yeah.
hmm
Yeah. Interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So if you ever get a fat cat and he starts dropping his hawks, he's got diabetes.
If I start crawling on the floor.
So the insulin, is it like more expensive than the
We
human
pay about
insulin?
$125 every 3 months for it.
Oh, okay.
And then we have to get us syringes, which are about $20 a month. So it's not cheap.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Well, you better love that cat.
He does.
I do.
I was gonna say,
I
yeah.
know.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Obviously.
I just
But-
hope and pray no other cat gets sugar in our house, diabetes.
Yeah, it's
So
a-
do you
it's a
have to
lot.
give the cat the shot?
I do the morning one. I make him do the evening if he's home. Now, Maggie's doing it because we're both here. She's like, I hate doing that. Nick's like, I love doing it. I don't like doing it either. I feel like I'm hurting him.
Jeez. Oh, jeez.
But when we went to the vets, Nick's like, I got this. He's my cat. I'll get up in the morning. He's never.
It's like getting up with the baby. I'll help. I'll help.
Yeah.
Hey, the baby's crying.
Yeah, when Chase like starts to like not even argue, just complain. I'm like, do not even complain.
So, we're really not covering the topic at all, but we're only 15 minutes and we got plenty of time. But so, I'm going to share it anyway. He won't listen to this. So Emmett and Easton both wet the bed, and it's a real struggle. So
My boys did too.
So did
So
I.
they were
Like,
late,
yeah,
10.
yeah, that's what I was
Yes,
going to say. So
yes.
it's a struggle. And so we bought him this little blue mat that goes under his bed, and it's supposed to be tried and true, and it will help. And if he pees, the alarm goes off. He gets up, goes to the bathroom, changes his sheets, goes back to bed. We're the same way with that alarm. That alarm goes off. I'm like, yeah, I ain't getting up. I didn't pee his bed.
Did you just quit wetting the bed? Do you remember for you?
Did you say, did I just quit? Yeah, like yesterday. Yes.
Anything for you?
No, I just quit.
Yeah, that's how it was for.
Yeah.
Was my Spencer and my Charlie? They just
You
around
grew,
10. They
say you just grow out of it.
Well, and
but
when I was in the dental field, the mouth devices, if you look up Healthy Start, that's the one main one that would help the most. And it seems like it's more common in boys than girls.
Yeah.
But they say I did see firsthand, it was when they were just getting into the mouth guards when I was kind of leaving, but I
like
did
a mouth guard in your mouth?
but they a lot of the symptoms were like bedwetting or ADHD symptoms, but they were never diagnosed, difficulty.
So you're telling me if they wear a mouth guard at night,
something to look at. Just have Alyssa
Call Dr.
Look up-
Google.
look up Healthy Start. It's like
She
an
will.
H and an S. It's like green and blue.
yeah, she will.
Because Aunt Tanya's looking into it for Kinsey. Because if they have it, there's different phases of them, but then they wouldn't necessarily need braces either later on.
Ah.
So it's kind of like a couple different retainers that help with different things like that, but
Interesting.
also with the cosmetic part.
Interesting.
Yeah. So
Fascinating.
I was baffled when we
Somebody's
learned that.
tuning in, and this is their first episode.
Right.
They're like-
did I click on the right?
Yeah, well,
podcast
because what
here?
was the question? What do you think is the greatest need of people today? I need my kids to stop wetting the bed. I am sick of washing bed clothes.
Cats with diabetes. Amish murder.
Yeah, we get a little carried away. Okay, what does anybody else think? What do people need today more than ever?
Love.
Looking for love.
Well,
in
I
all
don't know if we answered the
things.
question, though, but why do people need grace more today than they ever have?
Because people make dumb decisions and do stupid things.
I feel
and
like 'cause
then,
people are more cruel now than ever.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
people need more grace.
Well, I think it goes back to with social media.
Yes.
The fact
Yeah.
that everybody feels they have to be
set saying
out
something.
in front of everybody.
well, I feel
Everybody
like
has
my
an
opinion
outlet
is more
now for all
important
of
than
their-
everybody
Yeah.
else's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For sure.
So people tend to give their opinion more so now, and
Yeah.
of course that opinion is spread
Yeah.
as far as it
Oh,
can
yeah.
go on social media. So
Forever.
yeah,
Well,
I think it has a lot to do with that.
remember when you were growing up, if you wanted to pick on somebody on the playground, you were at risk of a fight. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
you-
you
Yeah.
have
like a fist fight. Like
Okay.
if
Great
you
point.
never
Physical.
picked on somebody bigger than you because chances are you were getting beat up, right?
Risk
Yeah.
involved.
Now you can do that on social media and
Yeah,
you
Or
don't
even meet the
those
person.
people would never say anything.
right.
to you.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a great point.
Yeah, there's no risk at this
Yeah.
point in saying those
Right.
things, and not that I'm saying fighting is the answer. My point is that because of social media and we can say things at a distance now, there's no risk. You can tell somebody in another country they're ugly and they can't read good, and
Yeah.
they can't do anything about it. So,
Right.
although I did fire a girl once who lived in another country, she was a remote worker, and she messaged one of my owners and asked for severance. She's a contractor, so obviously we weren't going to pay her severance. But I said to the owner, please don't pay her severance. I'm pretty sure she just wants that to fly here to beat me up. So, yeah, I feel like we have to give a lot more grace to people because, again, they want their opinions to be heard, and everybody feels like their opinion is the most important opinion.
Right.
Yeah. Which is baffling to me. I'm like,
Yeah.
not everyone can be right. Not anyone is 100% right all
Yeah.
the time. Like,
No, but when you're wrong, it makes you feel bad.
Yeah. Oh, does
Oh,
it
yeah.
ever? Oh, does it ever? Hey, let's circle back real quick. That was a White House joke, by the way, for anybody who got it. Circle back to the Trump assassination attempt just for a second, and I don't want to talk politics. I just want to say that I was really disappointed to see the response on social media to the people who were excited about it.
Oh,
Oh,
That's
yes.
just
Because
terrible.
I don't care who it is or what the
is.
situation is. Like, it's not exciting. Like, there's a guy who grew up locally who is missing right now. I'm sure all of you have seen that. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna- But he used to throw rocks at me when I was a kid.
I believe it.
Like, we would walk the railroad tracks from...
Michael, do you know where he is?
I don't know where he is. I promise. I don't need any more. I don't need any more struggles this
Michael took him to the train station.
week. Yeah. I dropped him off. No. So we would walk the railroad tracks, but he would go up on the
See, he took him to the train
overpass, and he would throw those great big rocks that were under. And he would throw those at us.
Yeah, it wasn't a rock; it was a boulder.
That's what I'm saying. Like, they were those big rocks, and he was up way high from us, and he would just throw those things down. Now, do you think in any way, shape, or form I want something to have happened to him? Absolutely not. I can't imagine like being his family and experiencing what they're going through right now. And so I find it really disgusting when people are excited that somebody is physically hurt.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or
Well, yeah, and they're happy that the guy passed away. Not even Trump. These people are putting at. Well,
Yeah.
good. At least they got one. I
yeah,
thought,
that's like
wow.
terrible.
it's crazy. It's crazy.
Oh, my
yeah.
goodness.
But anyhow,
I didn't
that's
hear that.
Yes,
Yeah.
somebody put that on.
Forgive me for asking, but he's not underneath that blacktop.
no.
I had to go there.
No.
I thought I was delusional because I passed here yesterday. Was that yesterday when you guys were doing that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Don't talk. You're going to make me cry. Don't
Sorry.
talk about it.
Well, I pulled in and was like, I don't see it anywhere. Where's the blacktop? And then I got closer. I'm like, there it is.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, Jesus.
You had to bring it up, didn't you?
I can't imagine what Sunday's going to be like.
Just too good. I'm sorry.
I think I'm sick on Sunday. Oh,
Nick can
jeez.
preach. He's the one who started
Yeah.
that.
I'll wear him down.
I'll have Lily start with her choke.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Oh, gosh. Oh, Lord. Okay.
Oh, man.
All right. What else?
Grace.
Grace. Lots of grace. Please, lots of grace.
More grace.
More grace. Grace, grace, and more grace.
I'm sorry I picked this topic. Maybe I shouldn't be the topic picker anymore.
The only thing I'm good at picking is my nose.
I can't even do that. My fingers are too short.
You see, when I picked this topic, I was like, I figured it would be a good one and we would stay on topic the whole time, but we just,
What is wrong with you?
I mean, you wanted me to stay off a topic from the get-go. I'm like, here we go.
Oh. Okay. Another thing that people need is they need relationship with the right people.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll give you an example on this one. I have a friend on, no, let me rephrase that. I have an acquaintance on Facebook who, again, my week has been like just an absolute roller coaster, okay? I'm talking starting from Sunday on. And I'm working on something and I get this message that says, hey, I've lost my relationship with God. I don't know what's going on in my life. I am having mental health struggles and yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, okay. Like, pastor mode
Yeah.
kicks in and you like, and she kept using, well, actually, I'm just going to pull it up because I think this is the part that people need to. First of all, if you're texting me right now expecting a response, you're not getting one because look at the time. Anyhow, people expecting me to, geez, what's wrong with these people? What's wrong with these people? Oh, they kept saying that they think that they lost their faith. And I don't think that that's the case. I think people lose hope and they confuse that with faith. I hope I win the lottery, but I have faith to believe that I will be okay even if I don't. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Right.
And so I think people have to start surrounding themselves with the right people. They have to have relationships with the right people so that they don't confuse things like that. Because whenever you've lost hope, you're willing to walk away from everything
Yes.
because you think that everything is hinged on that hope. But I have faith to believe and faith to know that none of the things that are happening in my life are based on hope.
Right.
Like, I don't hope that I hit the lottery.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm like, if it happens, great. But I'm not.
Right.
My life doesn't
Yeah.
hinge on that moment.
Yeah.
It's nothing's going to change in my life
Right.
if I do or I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, if I hit the lottery, there will be signs. But if I don't hit the lottery,
There will also be.
there will also be signs. Like, I'll be poor.
Er.
or So I feel like relationships are important. Being able to be in relationships with people that will lift you up, edify you, give you that grace, and just love you unconditionally, and not have to worry about living for the world in that relationship. And I think that's probably one of the harder things to.
Yeah. Now this
to
person
find.
that was messaging you, you kind of brought them up, but then I think it was like triggered because you were talking about relationships. Do you think that they had a relationship with someone or something that was kind of like falsifying it
Okay,
for them?
so I'm gonna, because if this person listens, they're gonna know I'm talking about them.
Yeah.
But this isn't anything I wouldn't say to them. I think they have a codependency issue.
Okay.
I feel like they always have to have somebody in their life, but I think that's the mental health struggle
Yeah.
as much as it is the emotional struggle.
Mm-hmm.
And so the codependency creates chaos whenever they don't have that other person in their
Right,
life.
right.
And it doesn't matter who it is or what it is, as long as there is a companion,
Someone or-
they are happy. And
Okay.
they can find happiness. They can say that they are happy, and all of the discontent and the doubt that they have, they can hide in that relationship. And so when that relationship ends, typically at a fault of their own, because they are so codependent, the other person can't breathe and they suffocate. That's the struggle, I would say.
I gotcha.
So that was just one of many over the weekend, by the way.
You're doing a good job.
I don't know about that.
I mean, all of
I
your
have
hair
about
is still
I have about
there.
6 people that would argue that I am not doing such a hot job. Oh goodness. No, my wife has been incredibly gracious with me over the past couple of days, which I have been thankful for, because I like just all of the stuff that keeps happening. I said before the podcast started, my dad had a family friend that passed away recently, and like on Sunday. And so I'm just sharing. I'm just like, you guys are just getting the story now. I found out on Sunday that he had gone to hospice, and I knew that Monday I was out of town for work and I was going to be gone from like 7 a.m. until 9 or 10 p.m. So there was just no hope of going to see him on Monday. So I sent the girlfriend a text and I said, hey, I'd really love to come over and pray with him and be there. Would 6:30 be okay? And I never heard back from her. She read the message, but she didn't ever say yes. So I didn't go. Now I knew I couldn't go on Monday. And my dad sent me a text on Monday afternoon and said, hey, he's doing really well. His vitals are good. He's up. He's talking. He's awake. He's actually arguing he wants to go ride his motorcycle. And I was like, okay, well, don't get too excited. Like, I don't want you to feel like.
A lot of times that happens.
Right.
Yeah.
And I said, but unfortunately, I can't go today. There's no way I can go. And he said, no, I get it. They understand too. Tuesday morning, I stayed home from work with the intention of making that my first stop. And before I could go, he had passed away.
Oh my.
And so, like, just reeling with that guilt of not having gone on Sunday night, not having stayed home and gone on Sunday morning or on Monday morning, like so many things that just started with that struggle. So, that was the start of a chaotic week, and then it has compounded from there. But I always stop and think, every time I call somebody or I have a conversation with somebody, there's just such great peace in knowing that I've got the right circle of people around me, and then that I've got enough sense to say, hey, that sucks, but we can't change it. So,
well, and you did all you could do. Like, you were waiting for that reply. You didn't want to overstep. You didn't know what was going on. Like,
and the thing is you can say there's 100 reasons you don't want to feel bad about it, but it's not going to change the fact that you feel bad about it.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, I can see
That's
that.
true.
Yeah. So people need good friends. They need lots of
absolutely.
grace. And they also need lots of money right now.
Amen.
Yeah.
Stamps went up to 73 cents a
73 cents?
Yeah.
Yes. When I started in 2020, or was it 2021? I think it was technically 2021 when I was driving on the route. They were 52 cents. And it's 2024 now, and they're 73.
And they wonder why nobody wants to use the.
Well, I think that might be what they're... Not that they're trying to do away with, like the postal service, but I think they're trying to veer more towards packages and less...
Well,
Yeah, 'cause
paper
how many-
and more
how many People are
electronics.
sending their bills in the mail
well,
Yeah.
anymore.
so now, like, if I get a credit card bill, they charge me $1.99 a month just to mail me a paper statement.
Yeah.
So I would agree. But honestly, I'm in an email chain. Did I share this last time? No, of course we wouldn't know because the last one didn't record, did it? Like, so I don't remember if it,
It
was or not.
recorded 18 minutes.
18 minutes of it.
Didn't do
Is this
anything
one
with
still
it.
recording? Yeah. I'm on an email chain, and this is also another reason I feel like we should revoke email privileges for some people. But festival email, I sent out an email to, or somebody had sent me an email. It was a copied 15 other people about their parade and their Queen's contest. Okay.
Mhm.
And so it came to me and came to 14 other people. And one guy responds to everybody in the email chain because, rather than just reply to that person, they reply all, why am I on this email? And I'm thinking, like, you just shouldn't know you shouldn't be allowed to have email.
Yeah.
But then somebody else said, we won't come to a festival that doesn't send us paper mail.
Oh.
So we printed invitations for our Queens this year and we mailed it. And it cost me a small fortune to do that. The print alone, because we sent postcards, I think it was $120 just for the postcards. And then we had to stamp all of them.
Yeah.
So
With the wedding, we just did like the QR code. Like I still sent save the date and an invitation, but I had people respond
With
just
QR
the
code.
QR code
Yeah.
because I didn't want to pay for those stamps.
Right.
And they weren't what they are now.
Yeah.
So, yes.
food is expensive.
Oh, yeah.
Everything's expensive. Everything has gone up except for our wages.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
Well, and I think it stinks that Beth isn't here to talk about, her project, what she's doing
Oh, yeah.
now with it. But I think that's something that the community would possibly, or could, what does need, you
Yeah.
know, and can benefit from.
If you're talking about tangibles, that's something that.
Yeah.
So my mind never goes to tangibles when you ask me what I think somebody needs. It's usually spiritual.
Yeah, normally
or-
it's not.
yeah.
Yeah. And then I was like, wait a minute.
To me, tangible fills a gap for a short minute.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But that's the aim of the food pantry that we're going to open. Cupboard of Hope is what it's called, and our plan is one day a month we're going to open, and we're going to give everybody who needs help basically 3 days worth of emergency meals. So you're going to have breakfast for 3 days, lunch for 3 days, dinner for 3 days in that package. The challenge that we're facing right now is that, a family of 3 is one thing, but a family of 6 or 8 is different. And so knowing how much food do you have to pack
Right.
and like, what's this going to look like? So we're talking about doing some online registrations and like pre-registration. So if you're going to come, they have to pre-register. That gives us an idea of what kind of food we're going to need, because really if we deplete the food in the first month, you can't do it again for 3 months because it takes that long to build up
build
that
back
food. So
Yeah.
that little nest egg. So just trying to figure out what it's going to look like in the long run. We are doing a really great job though. We've got a lot of food, not enough, but a lot of food. And so
Good start.
the challenge becomes it is perishable. So you can't sit on it for too long. You have to
Right,
move it pretty
right.
quick. So
Yeah.
but that is a physical need in our community. I would say is probably one who needs it
Oh, yeah.
more than anywhere.
Yeah.
There's
Especially-
there's a large food bank in Dover. And I mean, when you drive by there, they're open once a week. When you drive by there, that line stretches around the building. And it doesn't matter what the weather is. They're out there. So I don't know if they like give away $100 bills at the end or like, because I mean, there's a lot of people, or if the need is so great that's what the amount of people that they're serving every week. So I think that's Thursday night. I think they do that on Thursday night.
What church is it?
It's not a church. It's
Oh.
actually a food bank, but it's next to
Tapping his forehead.
what is it? Yes,
Oh.
Burning River.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Pastor Holly, for the
By
save.
the antique mall? Or what?
The flea market.
Yeah, why'd I
flea
say
market.
By the
antique?
flea market.
Flea
Yeah.
market.
Hey, didn't that used to be a bar back there in the corner?
Oh, yeah.
Bentley's.
What is that now?
Bentley's.
No, I don't think anything.
It's got to be something. It's got to be.
Where Bentley's is, it doesn't look like.
It's got to be something. I'm telling you, there
I
are
thought there was a restaurant back in there.
No, that's the
Doodle.
The food truck?
the
Not
brewery.
the food truck.
The brewery is on the other side of that, Hoodletown or whatever it
Oh.
is.
Yeah.
Didn't they put a church in there at one time?
I don't think back there the
Yeah,
church is up closer, or maybe there was at one time,
Yep.
or maybe
Well,
the
Burning
church-
River is the church.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But it's at the other end. Bentley's was in like the corner.
Corner.
So why do you think something happened?
Well, because there are always cars there now.
Really?
Always cars there.
Maybe it's one of those gambling joints.
Or maybe it's like an AA meeting place.
You're hopeful.
I know.
I think Roger's more likely to be right on that one, but
Yeah.
The first time.
oh, jeez.
That would be crazy, like a bar turned into
Yeah.
like an AA meeting.
Yeah, it would be crazy. Columbus is doing alcohol-free bars. Have you seen those?
Uh-uh.
It's really cool. It's all about sobriety, and you can go in there and you can get just about anything you want to drink, but all of it is alcohol-free.
Huh.
And their idea is to serve those who are in recovery, to give them a place where they can go and meet with other people who are in recovery and stay sober while they're there. So it's a pretty cool.
That is cool.
I have a friend who lives in Columbus who is in recovery, and she says that it's one of the coolest things that she's ever seen. So.
Is it like downtown Columbus?
I don't know exactly where it's at, but it's a chain of them.
Oh,
nice.
nice.
There are several. So, yeah.
I think as the American people, what we need right now is a little more honesty, integrity from our leaders.
Yeah.
Because I can't help but think that from everything I've seen over the weekend to this first of the week, it doesn't matter what side of the fence you're on. Does anybody notice now, like, the media is pretty much all against Biden?
Oh,
Like, everybody's, like, the media is completely turned on him.
yeah.
And I'm not even getting into what you agree with, what you don't agree with.
Yeah.
But the simple fact is, Trump was the villain for 3 years.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden, Biden can't say anything right. The media just constantly they want him to say he's not fit for the job.
Yes, exactly.
You know, they won't let it go. I mean, so to me, and I know this country has always been that way, but I think the American people suffer so much from that, the fact that there's no honesty or integrity, because when election time rolls around again, whatever gets them the most press, whatever gets them the most ratings, they'll flip the switch.
Yep.
And just turn on somebody that that they've supported so that they can knock the other guy down.
Yep.
But now it's going back the other way. And what are the American people supposed to believe?
Well, that's the problem. So the problem is, remember, and I remember this, so this isn't me saying people are old, but when you watched news or read news, it was local news.
Yeah.
So you would get a briefing about the president or whatever on local news, but the anchors were, Cleveland at the furthest.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Pittsburgh.
Your news,
Yeah.
Pittsburgh. Your newspaper was Tuscarawas County and maybe some surrounding county, but for the most part, that's what you were getting when you didn't have social media and you were being fed immediately. And now the trick is, because we can get news so quickly, it's not always accurate. Number one. So I want to go back to the President Trump situation. I have a friend who lives in Las Vegas. I need to preface this by saying he is a little bit crazy. Okay. He is just a little on the loosey-goosey side with like he just says stuff that you're like, probably ought not have said that. But 3 hours before the very first news article that I saw posted on Facebook that President Trump had been shot. Like, it's 3 hours.
He posted
He
it?
posted it. And all it said on his Facebook, President Trump was shot. That was it. And so I Google it. As soon as I see it within 3 minutes of him posting it, nothing. Like, not a news article. An hour later, Alyssa says to me, "Hey, did you see President Trump fell at his rally?" And I said, "What?" And she flips her phone around, and I read the article quickly, that there were loud noises and President Trump fell and he cut himself. That was the article that I read. And then an hour after that, now there were 8 gunshots, 2 wounded, 1 dead. Trump's been grazed. I'm like, what? How did that happen? How did we go that far?
And why?
And why? Like they didn't have confirmation over what happened. So they had to just say he fell because they couldn't say that he'd been shot at. And so we didn't give all of the details. Then why did we report on it? Why didn't we just wait until we had the facts? The craziest part in all of that was then after the fact, we're making fun of the man because he asked for his shoes. I don't care what he asked for.
Yeah.
Do you know what, like,
Just
can you
flag.
imagine the trauma being in that moment? But we have no care.
Where was his shoes?
They fell off. I guess when he got tackled by the Secret Service, that was what he said. When he got tackled by the Secret, but he didn't get tackled from what I watched. He laid down fairly willingly, but they laid on top of him. So, and then the worst part of all of this for me is, did you guys see the one Secret Service agent who couldn't holster her gun?
No.
Okay. So it's now she's like a media sensation. They're calling her Paula Blart, like Paul Blart, the mall cop.
Wait, the one that was in the front?
So I don't know where she was in like the whole thing, but when they put him back into the car, she couldn't get her gun back in the holster, and they've done nothing but make fun of her for that. What has this world come to?
Well, that's just like the girl with the national anthem.
Yes.
You know, she had to check into rehab, and good for her for doing it. But then everyone is just bashing her.
Yep. But if that were their neighbor or their relative, they wouldn't feel that way.
Well,
Right.
And that happens to people every day.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Unfortunately for her, it had to happen in front of thousands of people.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm blown away with how like hateful we are towards one another. I don't feel like we have.
Well, if it's not our feelings, then what's it matter? That's like what everyone thinks. And
Right.
And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
We need more honesty and integrity
Yeah.
to be,
I feel like though we and this is I kind of talked about this last Sunday. We come to church on Sundays, we read our Bibles, but we don't really take it much past that. We don't really take the love of Jesus and show it to the rest of the world. And listen, I'm guilty too. Like I have my moments where I'm like, I don't even want to talk to that person.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like I think we all have those fleshly moments, but the problem is more and more of us are having that as a lifestyle, as is to just
rather than just a momentary thing.
right.
Right.
no media coverage wants to come out and say this was terrible for America. This is the last thing that America needs.
Right.
Nobody wants to do that because it's not getting any ratings.
Right.
We want to go into conspiracy theories.
Yes.
We want to talk about the man's
Immediately.
shoes, and we want to do all these other things.
What
other
color
than
it
say,
shows weakness.
we are, as America, this is a very, very low moment. We need to step back and reflect on why this has happened, and what it means for our country, where we're at, where we're going. But we won't do that. It's because people won't rally around that. And that's a why. Why won't people rally around that idea?
Well, they won't rally behind that idea because it doesn't sell seats.
sell.
It doesn't sell tickets. Do you know what I mean? Like,
But like you're saying, I guarantee you, how many of those people go to church, attend the church? But when it comes to their job in the media or whatever you happen to be doing for that situation, you don't even.
They're not showing Jesus.
No, you don't bring it into play at all.
Ephesians 4:20. Ephesians 4:32 says, "Be kind and compassionate to one another, forgiving each other, just as Christ has forgiven you." And I feel like that's probably a big loss for us right now. Everybody is so polarized by politics. Everybody is so polarized by their own opinion being the only opinion that we can't just simply say, I don't agree with you, but that's okay. I still love you. And I don't want to hold on to, like, I don't want to hate you. I don't want to dislike you. We just can't do it. We can't say that I don't have to, that I can be compassionate and I can care for you and not agree with everything that you agree with. I say this pretty regularly. Everybody has their own little passions. Do you know what I mean? Like, Margie, I pick on you all the time because you're so passionate about caring for animals. Somebody who is passionate about caring for children would look at that and go say, well, she doesn't care anything about children if she cares that much about animals. That's not true.
Right. No, I care about kids just as much.
But that's what I'm saying. The problem is, though, is because people talk about your love for animals. That's what they hear and that's what they assume. And
Thank
so
God she picks up cats and not children.
Not children. Pretty soon she'd be arrested because she just was stopping at Walmart and just walking out with kids.
She'd be standing at the corner with a white van.
Yeah, candy.
He needs us.
The puppy. Come see my puppy.
Yeah. I've got a puppy in here.
His name's Derek.
Did you ever hear the story that I told? So Brittany and Derek first started coming to church here a while back. Brittany was coming by herself at first, and she would bring Wyatt and Brady with her. And Brady was still not really walking, so she was holding him most of the time. I remember it was like second Sunday she was here. Connie Walker just walks over, just snatches Brady out of her hand. I'm like, there's going to be a fight. This lady is going to beat Connie up. Because I would have if she'd just snatched my baby away.
If it was Ashley Caldwell,
Oh, yeah, she'd have got beat
I
up.
was just say Connie would probably not be with us.
Yeah,
anymore.
she'd have went to be with the Lord that afternoon. But like, you can't assume that somebody is not passionate about one thing because they are passionate about something else.
Right.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I feel like we don't have a lot of understanding for that. We think that everybody has to have a one-track mind. This can be the only thing you care about.
Yeah.
And if I disagree with you in politics, we can't be friends because we disagree in politics. But that is such a small moment of my time.
And your life, that I
Yeah.
was just listening to a podcast about this. It's like this girl didn't particularly used to like country music. Well, now she does. And now she just bought acreage and is, buying or building a house on this land and is talking about maybe doing, and she doesn't just want cows to have cows. Like she wants to actually, like
Eat them?
eat them. Yeah. Like process them. Like, and she's like, but she's so like, almost worried about what other people think because she was always so negative like towards it because they kind of described it as when you're in high school, like you have to either be the nerd, the smart kid, or the jock. Like why can't we be all three? Why do we have to start picking? And actually not even in high school, it starts immediately, like preschool or kindergarten. Like and I mean, like we say it all the time. I hope I'm not the same person as I was 2 years ago, let alone my whole life. Like, why can't
there be a smart quarterback that plays the tuba?
While playing football.
Who just aced the science test?
He goes in at halftime and marches out on the field for halftime show.
Yeah,
it is true though that like, and life teaches us that like you have to find the group that you want to fit in with, and that's kind of where you live for the rest of your life. But I think back to my high school. My time in high school, I was going to say career. It was far from a career because I put in zero effort in high school, let me tell you. I showed up. I got an A for that, right? Like that was
You got an A for that?
Yeah.
I got incomplete.
I know. I was faithful. I showed up, but I showed up to hang out. I did not show up to work, okay? But I'm not that person anymore.
Right.
Now, the crazy part is there are still people who that's the only Michael Brindley that they know.
Yeah.
And so
and
when they
refuse
start
to
talking
think.
to other people, they're like, oh, what?
Yeah, like they refuse to think that you changed to be a more mature person, a better person.
And when they meet you, like when they see you out in the street, like, listen, in Adeline's gymnastics class, there's a girl. No, it's her dance. It's in her dance.
No,
class.
it's in her wrestling.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Is
She's in everything else.
Is she wrestling too?
Yeah, but
kidding.
don't tell her she will. She thinks that she should be playing soccer right now. I'm like, girl, we can't do any more things with you. Like, anyhow, it's a girl I went to high school with.
Yeah.
She looks at me. She knows me. I know her name. I know who she is. I don't speak to her. And it's not that I dislike her, but like, we weren't connected in high school.
Yeah.
I'm not like, I'm not interested in that connection now. She would have been somebody who would have not liked me because I was in drama and not in sports. And I don't need that kind of
So you
negativity
don't
in my
even
life.
say
Right.
hi?
Nope.
See, I don't like that.
Nope.
If I run into people from high school and they choose not to say hi to me, I'm like, oh, all right then.
See,
I
but-
get fired up.
There was only
Just say
one guy
hi.
that I went to high school with that at the time I knew he is going to be exactly what he says he's going to be. This kid said he was going to be a brain surgeon. He's a brain surgeon.
See?
But that's
rare.
Doesn't happen.
That's rare.
Yeah.
And I think it's another thing that people need is everybody needs growth.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
And everybody needs to allow themselves
The
to grow.
grace. Yeah.
And we need to let people
Mhm.
grow. We can't always expect people to be who they were 10 years
No,
ago.
you
That's a
don't want-
great-
you don't want
And
them to
either
be.
way, if they didn't turn out the way you wanted them to turn out,
Mhm.
you shouldn't turn your back on them. And at the same time, you shouldn't still if you see that somebody's doing well and maybe they weren't doing well 10 years
Right.
ago, you need to stop being critical
Well-
and be happy for the person that
Right.
Yeah,
okay,
or-
they've grown.
Yeah, or people saying, "Oh, you've changed.
Yeah.
You've changed."
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right. I
Yeah.
have.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
the
like
better.
you're bad.
And
Yeah,
I changed.
well,
Like I'm not going to not change because you don't want me to.
And I have outgrown relationships.
Yeah.
There are some relationships I've outgrown. And it's not because I don't like those people, but
Right.
the relationship that we had was at a period in my life when I was doing the same things that you're doing.
Mhm.
And I've grown past that. That's a great parenting advice, piece of parenting advice too, because when your kids become teenagers, that preteen into teen, they are changing quickly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like literally every day they're changing their minds about something. And a lot of times we forget to give them the grace to
Grace
to grow
to
and
change.
change and make new decisions and find their own way.
Yeah, that same podcast I was listening to, the one is going through a divorce, and it seems like her and her ex-husband now, or soon-to-be ex-husband, they kind of, I don't know, they started mingling and meshing because they were both going through something traumatic during the same time. Well, then they started bonding. Well, the thing is she started going to therapy the past 4 or 5 years, and he goes to her, hey, I don't like the person that you're becoming. And she's like, I'm literally bettering myself going to therapy, and if you don't like that, that's on you. Like, this is a big problem we have.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, he's feeling like he's getting left behind.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
The difference is he's living in that despair and in that trauma, and she's growing past it. And some people can't handle that.
Right.
Yeah.
That was a good one, Nick. I like that one. I like that.
He
one.
always comes up with a good one.
He does.
Just pulls it out of thin air, doesn't he?
Pulls it out of his Abe Lincoln hat.
That's just
They're not predetermined. I can tell you that. I'm not saving them. Or
He's been sitting on that one the whole.
You guys didn't know, but he wears an Abe Lincoln hat.
Yeah. Every time he walks in the door,
podcast.
he has to duck to get in through with the.
Now I'm gonna have
one.
I'm gonna have to get one.
Can you pull a rabbit out of that hat?
Yeah.
Goodness.
No, it's a possum.
It's awesome. Pull it out by its tail.
Gently, because Margie's with him.
Yes. Yeah, he would have to pull it out and snuggle it before he was allowed to. Not even looking at her. Get beat up.
Can't help it. I'm nice.
Hey, how did you handle your turtle situation? That was.
Well, he was more upset because he thought it was one of his Teenage Mutant Ninja.
Well, yeah. Which one was it? Was it Leonardo, Michelangelo?
He was orange.
So it was Michelangelo for sure.
I didn't look at his little shell. Nick told me, and I was helping him mow the other day, which I'm not going to do again. And I saw his little shell.
Our lines
so I
weren't
was
straight.
Listen,
I'll give him straight lines. It's so hot out there, and I'm thinking, I just. Did laundry, cooked dinner, and I'm helping him. He's like, those lines aren't straight. I thought,
why I oughta. So my neighbor is really meticulous about his yard. Very straight lines. And he says that's his him time. He puts his headphones on, he starts mowing, and it is his goal to see how straight he can get the line. That's kind of that's his time. And then we let Emmett mow our grass now. No such thing as a straight line in our yard. So you can tell where the property line is.
Yeah, the turtle was rough. So
Poor turtle.
I just thought it was nice he came to us to pass away. He picked our yard. He knew he was going to
kind of seemed like he did. Yeah.
Did you bury him?
No, his little shell's still up on the hill.
Yeah, I just put him up on the hill and I
let nature take its course.
Yeah.
Well, Nick's not good at burying dead animals.
Oh,
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
We're totally.
Here we go.
Here.
Here we go.
Tell him about burying the cat.
Here we go. Come on, Nick. Tell us about it. Tell
Was
us
this
about
last year?
I think it was 2 years ago.
Okay,
It
so
was
maybe
awful.
2 years ago we had this black cat.
Was its name
It was-
Pepper?
It wasn't our cat. It
Oh.
was just
It wasn't our
it was
cat.
just neighborhood.
and it
cat.
roamed around for a little while here and there.
And I found it dead in the yard.
So it was dead in the yard, and this thing was stiff as a board, like stiff. Like I could pick it up by its leg, and
Badminton.
yeah,
Cat looked like,
Yeah, like a rat,
bat or
yeah.
something.
And I wouldn't go up with him to watch him buried anyways.
Oh, now I'm gonna have to bury this cat.
'Cause I told
want to
him
bury him
had
in
to.
our yard.
He has to bury it.
Yeah, so I had to bury it.
Yeah.
Wing it
So
in the
of
woods.
course I go get the shovel. I lay it across the shovel, and it's perfectly straight. So I take it to the edge of the woods, and it's summertime, so
It's dry.
it's dry.
Oh.
There's a lot of woods, a lot of poison ivy, so there's not a lot of clearing.
Yeah.
So I was only able to find one little clearing, but there was lots of roots from these big trees. Like, oh my gosh. So I start digging a hole, and it's rough going because it's all roots, some hard dirt. So finally get the hole, and I think, all right, it's big enough. So I go to put it in the hole, and of course there's no give because it's stiff as a board. So I can't, you know, like
Fold him up.
fold her up and, you know, make her all nice and in a bundle. And no, I got to try to get it in this hole as it is. And I'm like, ah. So I get it in there, and it's like, it ain't quite fitting in the hole. So
Did you take a shovel and cut his legs off?
You know, so I can just hear bones cracking.
and I'm sorry, I've heard about this in the Civil War.
Yeah.
They do stuff like this. Well, they just break the guy's leg or
Yeah.
something to get
Yeah.
him in the hole.
They do
What
it in
else can you do?
caskets too.
'Cause
If
they
you're
don't
really
have
tall,
time.
if you're really tall, they'll just break your legs, break your knees, just to.
Yeah, and trust me, I feel bad. I don't like doing this stuff, so I feel bad about doing it. But yeah,
Yeah, right. You just said you like giving your cat shots.
Yeah, but that's
It's a valid argument.
that's a little different.
Sorry.
He feels like a doctor.
Yeah, I feel like a doctor. Yeah,
Sophisticated.
That's it. That's sophisticated.
He's probably got a.
Yeah, so I mash it down in that hole, and I start pouring dirt over it. And wouldn't you know, there's not enough dirt. And the way that it was buried, its face is still sticking up out of the dirt, staring at me.
Why, Nick?
Yeah. And I'm like, oh Lord. And I'm like, I am not digging this cat back up and redigging. I'm not going to keep digging.
Just turn him over.
Not doing it. Yeah.
Face down.
So I
messed
look
up.
around. I try to get a little more dirt. I spread it over his face, and I just pound the heck out of his face to try to pound it down in the dirt, mat the dirt down. And I'm like, well, good enough. I'm like, got to move on.
It was not good enough.
So it was a quick, you know, military on the battlefield burial
With the cat.
with the cat. And I was like, well, hopefully it'll be good, you know.
I wonder if you have to show this in Gettysburg during your.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's gonna be on. It's gonna be on the test.
battlefield burial.
It's gonna be on the
I'm
test.
gonna fail. It'll be accurate. It will be a failure.
Well, they use like cats in science class. You
Yeah,
know, so
you never know.
You
Yeah.
just never know.
So I'll just bring a stiff cat in a bag with me when I go to my test.
And tell him just
What's in the bag?
just in
Nick?
case.
Extra credit.
Yeah, extra credit.
Cat's in the bag.
Literally.
So to put a great ending to it, so a couple days later we start smelling it. Because
It was bad.
It was bad because obviously I didn't bury deep
Yeah.
enough, and something got to it and dug it back out. But I'm like, I'm not going back up there.
All right.
It was bad.
But it
House
was bad.
stunk.
So yeah, not one of my finer moments.
Now, I want to just clarify that you had him tell that story, so I get to share mine now. Okay?
Oh no.
I was dating a girl in Cleveland and had a daughter. Her daughter had a guinea pig. Now, Christmas Eve, her daughter had been with her real dad for 2 weeks at this point. We picked her up on Christmas Eve. We went back to their house in Cleveland. We get there. She walks into her bedroom and she starts yelling, Abby, Abby. Her guinea pig died. Okay? Now, I would say she's been gone for 2 weeks. That guinea pig hasn't eaten in 2 weeks.
Oh my.
Right? So that's probably why the guinea pig is dead. Now, I'm no guinea pig doctor. I don't know why it's dead, but I know it's dead. Also, very stiff. Now,
And cold.
yes, it's Cleveland.
With his little legs sticking up in the air.
It's Cleveland, and it's wintertime. So it's snowing.
Mm-hmm.
And the girl says to me, the girl I was dating, she says to me, we have to bury it.
You buried it in the snow.
The ground is frozen.
And so I'm like, listen, like
They
there's
almost
no
didn't bury
way.
my grandma because the ground was going to be
I'm
frozen.
like, there's no way we're burying this thing. Like, it's not going to happen. I said, all right, here's what we're going to do. We'll put it in a shoebox.
Yeah.
We're going to take it outside. We're going to dig a hole in the snow. We're going to put it in the snow. We're going to tell her we buried it. And then after she goes to bed, we'll go get it, throw it in the trash can. Right?
Mhm.
Easy enough.
Mhm.
So we do that. We go out, we bury it in the snow.
You go to get it, the cat had already got
You're
it
going to say
out.
the raccoon or the cat or something pulled it
No,
out.
it's way worse.
Oh.
So we go back in the house. She lets her dogs out.
Oh no.
The dog brings guinea pig back in the house.
Fortunately, the little girl was in bed. But yeah, they didn't bring it directly in the house. They had fun with it before they brought it in the house. So it was pieces and parts that were coming in the house. And it was scattered. And so the next spring, whenever it thawed out, we were still finding parts of Abby.
Poor Abby.
Yeah. So Abby did not get Abe or Ariel in any way, shape, or form. It was rough. It was really rough. Yep. Not one of my finer
Guinea
moments.
pig was drawn and quartered.
Well, and again, I'm thinking once she goes to bed, we'll go out and we'll take it, just put it in the trash can. Really not a big deal. Never thinking in a million years that like when you let the dogs out, they're gonna go get it. Didn't even think about it. Well, they did. Yeah, buddy. So,
Oh man.
any other good parting wisdom,
What was a Christmas gift to the dogs?
Roger? That was the most.
Santa came early.
Yeah, chew toy. It was bad. It was really bad. What do you think is the greatest need people have today? Anybody else have any good parting wisdom?
No, but I have two praise the Lords.
Okay, let's hear 'em.
I don't know, probably 2 weeks ago, Chase, he put a fence up, which I don't know. I don't know if I talked about the fence last podcast.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah,
and
you've mentioned
have
it.
the podcast
Yeah.
anymore. So yeah, Chase was building a fence, and I was out there with Cooper, and where we had like the little picnic blanket, it was, I don't know, maybe. Well, I did know where it was because Zara has like a hole there all the time. Well, then about 3 hours later, a thunderstorm comes. And if we would have been not even a thunderstorm, I think it was just windy that day. Yeah. So we could have still been out there because it was windy, that tree branch would have fallen right on us.
Oh my
I'm like,
goodness.
oh.
Wow.
So, yeah, that. And then did I tell you guys I fell holding him?
No.
Not holding him. I was holding the car seat.
Was he in the car seat?
Yes.
Well, you were holding him.
That's true. And it's like, I've been asking Chase to put this hand railing up. He puts it up. And a week later, I don't use the hand railing. And my Ring doorbell got the whole entire footage. But my leg was so like black and blue. Actually, my foot still has like a ball on it. Like you
Oh
can
my gosh.
And that was like 2.5 weeks ago, I think. Or a week and a half. I don't know when
Jeez.
that was. But it's still like I can't really wear a tennis shoe. Like my tennis shoe has to be really loose. So yeah, I mean, he was completely fine when I when I fell, because basically I broke my leg just to make sure he was okay.
Right.
So yeah. But he was okay, and I just think I might have sprained my ankle or something. So
Well, Roger and I have a praise the Lord too. We had a small basketball court installed out to the left-hand side of the building.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really nice, isn't it, Roger?
Oh, it's lovely.
It's beautiful.
Yes, it is.
Can
It's
I
nice.
know the story?
No, I'm not going to tell
Okay.
the story.
Nope.
Okay.
I am, however, going to say this. So we have been working tirelessly to convert the gym
Mhm.
into the potential new sanctuary.
Yes.
So we like the space in there better.
Mhm.
And then this whole side of the building, like what is the sanctuary side, would become children's wing.
Right.
Kids would immediately coming into the church, come to the children's wing. Adults would go to the sanctuary. That's the long-term goal.
Mhm.
But we're doing that in phases.
Mhm.
The last project that we worked on, I basically said at the end of that project, I don't want to go any further because we have to rent a lift to do the next phase
Yeah.
of work. And I don't want to take the basketball hoops down until we have somewhere for the kids to play basketball.
Yeah.
Because majority of our kids in the church enjoy playing basketball.
Yeah.
Well, it happened out of order, but now they have somewhere to play basketball. So there we are.
All right.
I believe that God is good.
Speaking of, did you have? Okay, does Tesla's make trucks?
Yes, Cybertruck.
Did you have a Cybertruck here yesterday?
No.
Because when I passed here, I was leaving for my grandma's, and you guys were here, and
Roger's truck was, his trunk was open.
No. I was coming like Macaulay Drive.
Uh-huh.
Actually, no, we weren't even sitting at Macaulay Drive, like almost past Stepping Stones, and it was like headed towards here. I'm like, I bet you Michael had,
No.
but they had a bulldozer on the back of it.
Oh.
And you guys had like bulldozers
No.
here and stuff, and I'm like,
No.
hmm.
No, we didn't.
Oh.
At least not that we were aware of. We left. We may have left before it showed up.
Anything's possible.
Oh.
Gosh, what a night. What a night. So we have been working on the lobby. We have all the supplies
Yes.
to button up a project in there. And this is not a joke. You cannot anticipate the pain any project in this building will be, because when stuff is built around here, it's built like by people who
Yeah.
don't think you're ever
Yeah.
going to want to do another repair.
Right. Yeah.
So the air conditioner that was put into the wall, this is awful. It's just so bad. It was recently done.
Mm-hmm.
The guy who put it in for us, he cut the hole in the wall, put the air conditioner through, framed everything up, slid the piece of plywood on, put the sheet metal back on, because that was originally an opening for a doorway. Put the sheet metal back on, and then ran the conduit. So in order to get all of that back off, we had to cut creases down because you couldn't get it off around the conduit. And we had to get to it. And then whoever did this cut all of the electric this short inside of the box. So you couldn't even pull it through. So now we're fishing stuff through between the brick and the inside of the wall and the junction box. And it's a hard right angle. You should have seen us. It was everything that we do here turns into.
He hollered at me.
I did. Well, he kept saying, I can't see it. I'm like, get your glasses then, because it's right there. I was like, just get out of the way, Roger.
It's like Laurel and Hardy.
It really is. It really is. Yeah. It's sometimes.
And if you know who Laurel and Hardy is.
Yeah. It's very much so slapstick comedy. But anyhow, we've got that partially done. We're going to wrap it up tomorrow, hopefully. But one more small project wrapped up before Sunday morning. Put up some new lights today, some new light switches. We're really trying to make some improvements. So, but in all of that.
Yeah.
So, okay. Well, I don't have anything. Does anybody else have anything?
People need this podcast.
They do. Everybody needs this podcast. And if they don't feel like they need it, they obviously haven't listened to it.
Yeah.
If nothing else, for a good laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Know that
Make
we're
you
all
feel
crazy.
good.
Learn that we're all a little bit crazy.
I love it. I listen
Yeah.
to it every Thursday at work.
Yeah.
It makes me
Look
feel
forward to
good
it.
when Aunt Tanya's like, "Hey, where have you guys been?" I'm like, "Oh, she's listening."
And for me too, but I'm being honest with you.
Yeah.
We serve more people outside of our church than we do inside of our
Yeah.
church. It's crazy.
It is crazy.
The amount of people. If you polled every person that walked in our church on Sunday, I would tell you that you probably have less than 10% of the people who come here actually listen to this podcast.
Yeah.
It's other people. And Nick, this is a side note for you. You have the number 3 highest rewind episode,
Oh, really?
Oh.
which is crazy
Yeah.
because I think you had 14 views within the first week, which we don't get a lot of views there, but
Yeah.
14 views in the first week. And some that have lived there for months have gotten, 5 or 6. So that's crazy. I think Margie just listens to it over and over.
I'm like, rack it up, baby. Rack it up.
Yeah, right. But, yeah.
keep-
We're at number 3. Get us to number 1.
Put it on repeat.
I might do that now. Listen to it more times.
Yeah.
No, I did listen to it one time.
I listened to it twice. I listened to it the following Monday at work because you said something and I never did find it again. But while I was sitting there, I couldn't find a pen fast enough to write it down. And I listened to it 2 more times and I still never remembered what it was that was like light bulb moment for me.
I just listened to it once because there were just a couple I misspoke just a couple things. I was getting so thirsty towards the end and I should have
I put a water up there for you.
I know, but I
He had
just
his
kept
coffee,
going.
Too. He just
Because I had stayed up till 3 a.m.
Oh
to
my
write that.
gosh.
So I had started it, I think like at 8 a.m. or 8 p.m. Saturday night, and I just wrote it from about 3 a.m. So that was the first time I'd read it out loud.
Wow.
So overall, I was like,
It was
I
good.
was happy with it, but
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
it's like, I'd like another. I wish I could go back and do it again.
Well, that
There's
was
a couple things that I would have changed. But
last Sunday's message. I took no notes to the pulpit with me last Sunday, 0 notes, because I knew where I was going. I knew point A and point B. That was all I cared about on Sunday. And I was so excited when I was done. But then when I listened to it, I was like, dang it, that was a good spot right there to add. Or
yeah,
and
You'll have that.
that I was going to say, and I
If
think that
anything.
happens probably every week.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I get really bad too, like when Holly is preaching or even on Wednesday nights, not interrupting her with, also this,
Yes.
because we all have different thought processes. And so, but yeah.
I know I do that a lot. And I know I sit here and I'm like, it's like subconsciously.
Yep.
But then I hear myself, I'm like, self-control.
well, on Sundays when you're preaching, I think, call on me because I'm going to say something.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's really hard to not want to do that. So,
Yeah.
Well, and I told Dale, I said, in some ways, it don't even feel like I wrote that speech because it's amazing how many things just connect themselves.
yes.
When
Yeah.
you really start looking at everything and you're trying to piece it all together, it's like some of that stuff is just like, wow. I mean, he just like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That falls into this, falls into that, falls into that.
I
Yeah.
can't believe
Yeah.
this all,
Yep.
comes together the way
together.
that it does. I think the one for me was Lincoln called it the fiery trial.
Mhm.
And I said, that fiery trial is still going on, and it lit the torch for what Kennedy was doing. And of course, the torch, I immediately thought of not only of his first inaugural address, but the fact that his eternal flame now,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
in Arlington.
Well, when you said that,
Yeah.
that's what I thought.
Yeah.
So all of that like tied together right there. And I just remember when I hit upon that, I was like, wow. I was like, I didn't really give myself credit for writing that. It's
Yeah.
just like, that all fits together
Yeah.
just the way it's supposed to. Sometimes that stuff's amazing.
That the one podcast I listened to.
That's how we know the Illuminati runs the country.
They had some girl kind of writing to them, and they write stories and stuff, but at the end she was just really appreciative of them and like the phases of life that she's gone through just by listening to them. Simply like it just feels like a friendship. And I mean, they were kind of listening to it, but they were saying like, I kind of just got a therapy session out of what she told, not like blowing her, like making her buffer, like chest big or anything, but just kind of what she was saying. She's like, here I thought we were trying to be a good light and good voice to other people, but they're in return giving it back to us without even realizing it. So it was just kind of cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
How it all circles around like that.
And it really does.
Yeah,
it
it
really
does.
does. Yep. Well, I shared with you guys that went to that one Elvis show, and the lady, I'm unloading the van, and she's Pastor Michael. New phone, who dis? And she starts like quoting portions of our podcast. Like she actively listened so that she would know who we were. I mean, it was mind blowing that she was that engaged with what we do. And so just has been, like, you really do learn that we are touching lives and we are helping. And while some people listen, and our church listens and goes, these guys are stupid because they know us.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They know who we are and they get that we're maybe a little bit zany and off the wall, but those who don't know us go, wow, there's actually really good chemistry there, and their stories are relevant to my life. So
We're accomplishing what we set out to do.
Yep.
Right.
Even if it's not exactly the way maybe we intended it.
Yeah.
But I think it's good. I think we definitely, that was a good decision when we made that decision.
I agree.
Who would have thought? I mean, because
the decision,
the fact that I'm still amazed that we're doing it
me
every
too.
week.
Yeah. And not getting tired and drained.
Yeah.
And
We're not.
it's refreshing,
Yeah.
like all the time,
Yep.
not sometimes.
And I know
all
you
the
said
time.
before, sometimes it's like, man, it's had a long day at work.
it's
and
daunting
I don't
until
wanna
you
do
sit
it, but then
down.
we
I was
sit
gonna
down and
say,
do it, and it's like
when
it
you
recharges
finally
you.
start to just talk, then you're like, oh wait,
When you hit an hour and like you could go for
Doesn't
another
feel
hour
like- yeah.
because it's just conversation. Yeah, it is really nice.
Yeah.
Okay, Dawn, well, welcome back.
Thank you.
I'm going to let you pray us out.
Dear precious Heavenly Father, we come to you, dear Lord, to thank you for this day. Thank you for everything that you do for us, Lord Jesus. And Lord, I just pray that we do give grace and mercy to everyone, Lord, and not forget forgiveness, Lord, that we need to forgive 7 times 7, 7 times 70, eternity, Lord Jesus. Let us forgive always. Lord God, I just ask and pray that you take us all home safely, Lord Jesus. Let us enjoy our time with our families and our loved ones. And Lord, just bring us back next week so we can do this all over again. In your name we pray. Amen.
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 Hey friends, Pastor Michael again. If you've enjoyed this podcast, you should consider joining us on Sunday mornings. Our address is 1943 North Water Street Extension in Yorksville. We'd love to have you join us for an in-person service.